Hey, what's up, folks? It's Drew. I've been debating with myself about whether I wanted to actually do a video on this or not, with the nonsense with the protests and the cops and everything else going on. I was kind of on the fence about it. I'm just one voice in like millions and millions of people who all have their own friggin' opinion and all the different noise that's going on. And I just wasn't sure if I wanted to add to the noise or not, but anyway, here I am. I guess I'm doing it. Um, I like to tell people I have a unique perspective on things, especially when it comes to with police officers and what goes on in the police department. And when I mean unique, I mean I was a paramedic in New York City for 25 years. I was on the street with cops all the time. Um, I have a very close and personal relationship with the retired police officers. I know the inner workings of the department as well as what goes on the street as an observer and not actually being a cop. Um, First off, we don't like nobody likes to be judged in a group. When one person does something bad, you paint everything with a broad brush, as they say, and every cop is bad. Every segment in society, no matter what it is, whether it has to do with your race, your religion, uh, whatever it is, whatever field of work you might be in, when a person in your group, whatever group that is, does something wrong, you're all labeled. One of the things going on right now, I think, which is kind of ironic, and I might piss a lot of people off on both sides with this whole video. Um, the cops are getting pissed right now because they're being treated like they're all that piece of shit that committed this murder. And we all know not every cop is like that. A very small minority of cops are like that. But they're all being painted with that broad brush that all cops are bad. They're all racist. The irony in it is that the black community has been painted with that brush forever. When they walk down the street, it's assumed that they're all bad, that they're criminals, and that you have to watch yourself around them because they're black. Well, hey cops, how does that feel? Okay? Because obviously, as we know, in that segment of society of being black alone doesn't make you a friggin' criminal. But they've been living like that all the time. Car stops, they have to fear. Walking down the street in New York City, stop and frisk. Yeah, I got guns off the street. Totally unconstitutional as far as I'm concerned. Why can't I just walk down the street as a citizen, no matter what color? Why am I, if I'm black, and yeah, I'm in a bad neighborhood maybe, why am I getting singled out if I did nothing wrong over and over again? So now the cops are getting a taste of that. Maybe that'll help bring a little change on that end of it. All right? You get to see what it's like. But again, it's like that in all segments, in all groups. One person does something wrong, you all become bad. You're all the evil one. And you know that's not the case. I wish everybody would just pump the brakes on this thing for a while. All right? We all know that what happened with Floyd was an incident that was absolutely horrible. And every cop, to a man around the country, knew that was wrong and was backing the family in that. And I get in this country you allowed peaceful protest and to demonstrate. But see, it turned again on the good people that were protesting. It turned because the looting and the vandalism in these neighborhoods, which is just so ridiculous. I don't understand. I just don't understand why that happens. Now I'm sure the instigators put in there, this just to stir up the shit and start this, and that take advantage of a situation, get some free shit. But one of the reasons I'm doing the video though, this is a whole societal thing. This didn't happen overnight, obviously. But when something like this happens, it's scary how everybody goes to their corner and nobody can come out and together. Like, I know there's people like me that are in the middle of this, understand both sides. You have to understand both sides. But the extreme on both sides caused this rift, and there's no communication. It's like dealing with a bunch of children. That's what I feel like right now in this country. Everybody, a bunch of children. It's embarrassing as an American to see this happen. Yeah, we know there needs to be change. This is a systemic thing that's been going on for years. And you could blame both political parties. Obviously, you know my views. I'm not one for giving handouts to people. I'll give you a hand up. I don't want to give a handout, but I think in the black community as a whole, uh, we had the civil rights movement in the 60s, which was great, but then the pendulum swung so far where we just gave and handed out everything. Now you have generations of black Americans who grew up with handouts, not by any fault of their own. That's what they know. They started with the program with public housing. And what happened with that? It public housing should have been like, if you're having a hard time, we'll put you in housing, we'll help you get a job, figure things out, and then you move out of there. But to give free housing, and now this is generation after generation. So how you supposed to tell these young kids today that that's the norm for them? That's how they're raised, and that's all they know. And it's getting handouts. So we're starting with that, but the government just handed things out, and you have a whole segment of society now, and it's not just race. It has to do with the economics of it. But that's a systemic thing. There's so many issues. It's not just about cops. It's the breakdown of family values. It's education. There's so many things I could touch on with this. You look at unions, teachers unions. Kids aren't getting good education because the teachers more worried about themselves and their pensions and everything else and what they're going to get than actually teaching kids. And what teachers, some of these neighborhoods, teachers don't want to teach in those neighborhoods. So you got those unions. You got the police union. Let's get back to the police department a second, because I'm more familiar with that, and I could speak to that, and that seems to be the big issue right now is with the police, obviously. I would say the majority of cops, at least the majority of cops that I know, they take their job because it's a civil service job with benefits and a pension and stability. Not because they're racist and they want to go out and beat people up and go into these neighborhoods and just tune people up. They're not taking a job. A lot of them are not taking the job because they want to go out and they want to serve the public, and that's what a great thing. They want to do good for the community. It's a pension, folks. It's a civil service job. It's got good benefits. You got dental, you got medical, you got a pension, variable supplement. Hey, it's a great gig. So that's why most of the cops are out there. All right, and then you're gonna get your ones that and I've seen this personally. All right. I grew up in a white neighborhood my whole life, and I know guys that white cops, they grew up in these white neighborhoods, and then they go into these bad ghetto neighborhoods that they're not familiar with because they never seen anything like that, and they think because they have a gun and a badge, they're badass. No, folks, it doesn't work that way, and I see it a lot of times. Another thing I used to see with the cops. Everybody sees that murder. No other cop said anything. Nobody stopped it, right? Horrible. But let me tell you something. When a cop snitches or tells on another cop, and you cross that and you break that blue line, let me tell you what happens. You make a complaint about another cop, good luck when you go on a call and you need backup. Good luck with that. Because you're up shit's creek. Because you know what? They're going to leave you out to hang. They don't give a shit because you're not one of them anymore. It happens. And I know, I have a ton of cop friends and family, and they're going to be pissed. But be pissed. If you're pissed, it's because you know this is true. And I'm not taking away from the good cops. Like I said, you're going out for a pension. Most of the cops, they're going to go in, they're going to get their numbers, and then they're going to go home at the end of the night to their family. That's all they want to do. Most of the cops don't want to bust your balls. All right? This comes from up top. When a lot of these cops, when they're busting your balls, it's because the commanders are telling them, we need numbers. We need so many moving violation summonses. We need so many parking summonses. You know, all the time. How many collars? Oh, you didn't make enough collars? Find a collar, right? You gotta get your arrests up, because it doesn't look good to the sergeant, doesn't look good to the lieutenants and the captains, all the way up. You know, in New York City, they have a thing called Comstat, where they get together and the big chiefs go over all the numbers in all the areas of the city. And if your numbers don't look good, you don't have enough collars, those bosses are going to hear it. And what happens? You get transferred to midnights or a tour you don't want. You get put in a precinct or an area you don't want. It happens all the time. All the time. And every one of my cop friends knows it. It's not a secret in the department. All right? So, to get back to this whole thing, though, I just don't understand how these protesters, I'm going all over the place because I just really have so much on my mind with this. Again, so we understand that part with the cops, all right? Again, don't paint them all. They're not, majority of guys are just there to get a check, not looking to screw you, you know? So the bad guys, the bad cops, you know, they need to be dealt with. We understand that. Get back to the protesting. I have no problem, protest. It's just what the country's built on. You got a problem, a grievance, you protest it. You try to make change. It's when protesting becomes the looting and the rioting, and a lot of these communities, they're hurting their own community. You know, I don't understand. I don't understand how, and I don't understand how the politicians in these cities, and I'm going to get into it, every one of the cities that are having these issues, they all got these liberal Democrat mayors and states, and they just let people get away with whatever they want. If you do get arrested for violence or looting, you're out the next day. The DA's not even going to prosecute it. So it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There's a lot of work that's got to get done in this country. I just want to shed a little light. I see both sides of it. Something else I wanted to touch on. Let's talk about a little bit about like prison reform and in the justice system. Again, it sounds like I'm picking on these cops, but this is the reality, folks. Again, I've worked in some really crazy neighborhoods that are really run down, really bad, some minority neighborhoods, black neighborhoods, and I've worked in lily white neighborhoods with a lot of money. And I'm going to tell you right now, the policing in those two communities is totally different. You go to a white neighborhood and a cop catches a kid smoking a joint on the street, most of the time he's like, dude, get out, put that away, get out of here, right? At most, maybe he'll give him a summons. This is back in the day, just before they changed all these weed laws and everything. The same kid, 15, 16-year-old kid in a black neighborhood smoking a joint, they're gonna find a reason to collar that kid. So what happens with that kid? They put him through the system, 16 years old. He might be a decent kid, a good kid, smoking a joint with his friends. Same thing the white kids do in their neighborhood, right? Good kid. So now you put him in the system, and let's say they make him do some time, whatever. Maybe it's not weed. They make him do some time. First offense, whatever, and they make him do some time. So the kid goes in. Maybe it's even just a few days or a month, whatever it is. If he has to do time. When he goes in, he's now in there with hardened criminals, repeat offenders, and he's got to fend for himself. So you take this kid who had done nothing wrong prior, except for smoking a joint or doing something stupid. It could be, I don't know, maybe it's a petty theft, so they're going to shoplift or something. Whatever, they're going to make him do some time. Now he goes in for the 30 days. Next thing you know, he's in with these hardened criminals, and he toughens up. So now he goes back on the street. Now he's a tough guy. What happens? He ups the ante. More crime. Do you see how this perpetuates? You got to take these kids, first-time offenders, when they do something wrong. I know this sounds so snowflake of me, people, alright? You got to figure out what the hell's going on. Why is he doing this? Is there pressure? Is there something going on at home? Does he just really, like, what is it? Nip it in the bud. Don't put this kid in the system So it just keeps repeating itself. The first offense is when you gotta stop it, or at least attempt to stop it, locking people up. And you can't just, the other thing is, you can't just be like these liberal mayors and governors and everything and just say, hey, don't worry about it and don't charge anything. All right, and then just let them go, and then it just perpetuates that way as well. There needs to be somebody to talk to these kids, check on the families, find out what's going on with them, and have real reform. Instead of letting these kids get caught up in a system, let's break that cycle with the first offense and figure out what the hell is going on and try to help them, put them in a program there, instead of locking them up and getting them hardened. All right, so there's a million things I could talk on with this whole race thing. I'll probably do more videos, maybe. I don't know. I'm sure I pissed people off with this one. Again, I know I'm all over the place, and I wasn't trying to pick on cops. All right, but the people have to know the reality, and that stuff does have to change. You know, the stuff that goes on, and I'm not saying it's just a lot of it comes from the top, comes from the brass. These cops are forced to do stuff that, you know, not necessarily they want to be doing. Anyway, folks, till some other time. I don't know when I'm going to get back to you again. I know I went long and I ramble on. Just want to give some truth to some of the things that I've seen out there, and there's a ton more. You know, it's funny, in my downtime, I'm thinking of all the things I want to say in these videos, and I get in front of this camera and I just lose my train of thought. But I might be back with more. Depends. I'm probably going to get trashed for this one. So, all right, folks, have a good one. Be safe. Try to keep the peace, man, all right? Bye.